Okay, everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the presentation today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Raquel McAfee, and I am a 2017 Elite Coach. I am super excited to share with you today about what it takes to have a CEO mindset. So it's going to be a short presentation because I know a lot of us don't have a lot of time to be watching these videos, but I'm going to leave you with some points that I want you to really think about as you move forward in this business. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's see. So first and foremost, what does it take to build this business? We always talk about it takes Wi-Fi and a dream, which I think it just sounds so glamorous. And I have this beautiful picture, this beautiful day designer, there's flowers. It looks awesome, right? But we know that behind the scenes, it doesn't always look that beautiful. And there are ups and downs in the entrepreneur roller coaster and what that looks like. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing we need to remember is that we are entrepreneurs. The minute we signed up to become a coach, we signed up to become our own CEOs. So what does that look like? It was literally a $40 investment, maybe $140 or $160 for those of us that got the challenge pack. But that's all it takes to open up a business. And I think sometimes we forget what an opportunity that is. That literally we have the ability to spend $40 to $160 to open up a business with the potential to earn. The sky's the limit. The income potential is really out of this world. Versus people who open up a business of their own, most likely are having to take out like loans, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're already starting in the red. The beautiful thing about this business is you never have to go in the red. You never have to go in the negative in this business in order to move forward, which I think is a beautiful thing. But sometimes I think we forget it because it's only, $40, 160. We don't treat it as the potential that it could be to earn us. We could become $1 million earners if that's what you want to do. And I think sometimes if we were to remember, if I had invested $100,000, would my work ethic match it? And I think sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that. Another beautiful thing about this business is there's no overhead. We don't have to stock inventory. We don't have to deal with shipping. How beautiful is that Beachbody handles all of those headaches that most people, small businesses have to deal with? We don't have to deal with any of that. We're literally being a product of the product, sharing our story, inviting people, doing like the fun parts. And the beautiful thing is Beachbody handles all the back work, which makes our lives and our jobs as an entrepreneur and CEO that much better. Again, another benefit of this is that we are our own boss. I think we like to talk about being a boss babe and a girl boss and what that means. But it's a double-edged sword because we are our own boss. No one's going to tell us to do anything. If we choose to sleep in and not get up and work, if we choose to take Saturday and Sundays off, no one's going to be there saying, hey, Raquel, where are you? You should be working. Oh, you took yesterday off. Why don't you put in a little more hours today? No one's going to say that. And majority of us have just been employees our whole life. We've been used to being told where to be, when we need to be there, what we need to do, setting quotas or setting deadlines and meeting them. But because we're our own boss, we have to set those goals and those deadlines for ourselves. Same thing, we set our own work hours, which is awesome. I'm a mom of 3, I still work. And so my work hours look a lot different than somebody else who maybe stays at home. And that's okay. We can make it work for ourselves, but we just have to be diligent, thinking of that CEO mindset of, am I working to my full potential? So those are just some things that I want to talk about, what it looks like in our job as entrepreneurs and CEOs of our own Beachbody business. The next thing I want to break down is I looked into some statistics for what CEOs, small businesses, what did that look like? So this is kind of the truth and breaking down the statistics. So first statistic, it's a little negative. 8 out of 10 entrepreneurs who start businesses fail within the first 18 months. So 80% that start a business aren't going to make it past that 18-month mark. And again, that's because it's hard, right? It's hard to start a business. I just talked about a lot of people go into hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, right? They're hoping that they can just create a business plan, that they can just break even at the 3-year mark, and then hopefully get out of the red and start making a big profit at the 5-year mark. I have a friend who actually opened up her own business at the same exact time that I became a Beachbody coach. So we've been doing it for 2 years now. And, seeing how she's growing her business and the stresses and that what it looks like for her, she has to be at a place day in and day out. If her business isn't open, nothing's happening. She's not making revenue. And again, her plan is she had to sign a 5-year lease for a place. And her plan is at 3 years, she's going to hopefully break even. And then at 5 years, like I said, that's when she really wants to start making a profit. And I think back to this, from day one, I immediately hit the ground running and made profit. I've never been in the negative. I don't have to worry about breaking even. And so I think that that's something that we need to really take advantage of. Our opportunity here to be CEO of this business, it doesn't have to be 80% of us that fail. If we put in the work, we're not going into tons of debt to open up our business. The income potential is limitless, which is amazing. So I definitely just want to reiterate the opportunity that we have. The next thing I wanted to talk about is student loan debt. So I looked into the research, and actually student loan debt has increased. We know that the cost of getting a higher education continues to increase. But in 2016, so graduates that graduated last year, average student loans, students were leaving school with $37,000 and $162 in debt. And most people don't look at that. They look at that as an investment of themselves. They go spend 4 years working hard, grinding away, studying, hoping to get that degree, and then hoping that when they graduate, they can start earning enough income that they can at least afford the lifestyle that they want to live, as well as start paying back those loans. And so what I want to talk about this is I think, when we first started, I heard a lot, be here in a year, be here in a year. And that's a beautiful thing. Of course, we want you to think long-term, not just give it a couple minutes or a couple months and dip your toe in the water, but really think long-term. But honestly, I don't think a year is enough. I look at this business like I am getting a 4-year degree. And so what does that mean? I know that I'm just going to invest and go all in this business for 4 years and treat it like a college degree. And again, the beautiful thing about this is I can earn as I go versus you get a college degree. I have a college degree, so I'm not hating on college degrees. I have a master's degree, but I just want us to think a CEO mindset. If we look at this as like, I'm getting my Beachbody degree, and after 4 years, if you stay consistent and you stay committed and you do the work, it kind of blows my mind where we can be in 4 years. So again, just some food for thought, comparing that versus being in college and looking at this business as I'm going to give myself a go for 4 years. And then the last one I want to show you on the right is a statistic, which I always think blows my mind, but 82% is the percentage of women in the United States who make $100,000 or more a year, and they did it through direct sales. So I know there's a lot going on about, women's rights and rallying and all that great stuff, and that's wonderful. But I think that this opportunity as a woman, the ability we hold it in our hands to make the life that we want to make the money that we want to make. And it's proven, like, this is how women are doing it. I think a lot of times when we think of direct sales, we think of like Mary Kay. I think I used to go to like Tupperware and candle parties and Avon. The business model has been around for a long time. And I think that people are starting to recognize this business model works. People are having success. I think what sets us apart from other direct sales is that what we do on a daily basis truly changes lives. And not to cut down on anything, Lula Road, I think that's a beautiful thing, and people are selling leggings and they feel good and they feel confident and they feel cute, and that's awesome. But we literally have the ability to change someone's health for the better. That's going to have a long-term impact in their life, which is awesome. So again, just some kind of percentages of what does it look like to be a CEO and how it's really working at this day and age. This next picture is the roller coaster of a day in the life of an entrepreneur. I looked at this and I was like, oh my goodness, yes, I have these days, right? This business is beautiful and wonderful, but it also, there's the highs are high and the lows are low. So just kind of going through it, you first start and you're excited and you have this vision and you love the products, you're ready to pay it forward, you see how it works for you and you're like, I can do this, let's go. And then you go and you surge, and then maybe you meet up a little bit of resistance, whether it's people around you, whether, you're sharing your journey and nobody's really taking the bait, and you hit that point where you're like, this is hard. Like, I thought it was going to be a little bit easier. This is hard. I don't know. And then you're like, I'm just going to keep going. I love what we're doing. I love my job as a coach. And you just keep surging ahead and you get a little bit of momentum working. And you're like, yes, it's working. It's awesome. I'm doing so great. You got people joining you. Maybe you're building a team and you're on this high. And then sure enough, something happens. You get that coach cancellation, or somebody returns a challenge pack, or you're struggling. It's the end of the month and it's like, I got to hit Success Club, right? And you're like, oh, this is so hard. I messed up. But you're like, it's okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to sacrifice. I'm going to give up the good. I'm going to stop watching as much reality TV. I'm going to commit that time to growing my business. I can do this. I can do this. And you surge ahead. And then maybe you hit some goals and then you're going to come up again and, oh gosh, this is really hard. Maybe I'll just quit. I don't know if it's for me. I've had a lot of people like, Raquel, I just don't know if it's for me. Maybe I'll just quit. And that always breaks my heart, because I'm like, this is just part of the roller coaster. Like, if you're feeling that, that is a completely normal thing to feel. So again, the next time you sell it, somebody, messages you and like, hey, Raquel, I've been seeing what you're doing. Can you tell me a little bit more? I really want to join your group. How wonderful is it when we get those messages, right? And you're like, yes, I am good. People see what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm so hard on myself. I can do this, right? Something else happens. You're like, you know what? Forget it. It was wrong. I suck. And then you go back up again. You're like, I love this job. It's wonderful. It's fabulous. And we can have all those emotions over the course of a year, over the course of a week, and even over the course of the day. Like I said, the roller coaster of emotions of being a CEO, it's up and down and up and down. But I think that's what's the beautiful thing about this business is you're not alone. Right? You're never by yourself. You've got a team. You could reach out to anyone in the Beachbody community, and I guarantee you would have somebody who would say, support you, encourage you, and say, don't quit. You can do this. But I just wanted to kind of share that with you, because I think sometimes because we are on our laptops or on our phone, by ourselves, that we can sometimes think, man, maybe it's just me that it's hard for. But I'm just telling you right now, that's just part of being a CEO, having that kind of lifestyle. So now I kind of want to just get into more of the meat and the potatoes of what does it mean to have a CEO mindset, and how do I move my business forward? So how to work like a CEO. So one quote that I think is so true and really just shines through in everything is that the speed of the leader determines the pace of the pack. So as you're growing your team, just know you will probably never find or sponsor a coach who's going to be moving at a pace faster than you. Maybe you will, but I would probably say that's a slim to none chance. So you, as the leader of your team, even if it's like you, team, party of one, you're setting the pace. Maybe you bring on a coach or two, you are going to set the pace for your team. So if you want to run in this business, run and encourage them to jump with you. This is a moving train. You set the pace. People can jump on, they can jump off when they need to, but you are moving forward. How to work like a CEO. I think so many times, I just recently came back from a retreat and one of our Beachbody corporate mentors was there. And he talked about being on the offense versus being on the defense. And so many times we see a coach going inactive and we're like, oh my God, I need them to be active to hold my rank. Or, oh my goodness, I need to sell this many challenge packs. I'm getting so close. And we get so stressed and we're on the defense instead of being on the offense. And what does that mean to be on the offense in your business? Controlling the controllables. I don't personally have control over how hard my coaches work. I wish I did. I can lead them. I can guide them. I can give them the tools to be successful, but I can't make them do the work. What I can control is the amount of work I put in. I can control the actions. Again, I can't control how many people are going to be like, yes, Raquel, I want to join your fitness group. I can't control that. Wish I could. But I can control how many people I invite. So controlling the controllable means I have control over my actions. So if I want to achieve a certain success in my business, I know that I have to do more action. And I personally have control over that. Another part of the aspect of that I think we don't touch on enough is I have control over my emotions. Now, I'm not to say that I have never shed a tear in Beachbody, because let's be real, I have shed many tears on this journey. I think that's just part of being a woman CEO. We're emotional, we're invested, we're in it to win it, and it's hard not to take things personal. But I've learned I have to detach my emotions from the no's. I get a lot of no's, or even worse, I get a lot of ignores. I don't know, maybe that's not just me, but I get a lot of people, I'm like, I see that you read my message and you're not responding. Ouch, that hurts. But I've had to detach my emotions from that and just keep moving forward. I have control over my emotions. I know that what I'm offering is amazing and can truly change somebody's life, if not just physically, but financially. And so I have to believe that 100% that I'm going to keep moving forward. And I'm not going to take it personal if somebody says no to me. If somebody's like, that's cool that you do the coaching thing, but I would never do that. Cool, not for you. Keep moving. So definitely I encourage you, control the controllables in our actions and also in your emotions. Same thing. Be the coach you'd love to sponsor. So when you think of a CEO, they are the hardest working people in the business. The CEO of a company is probably the one who's the first to work. He's probably the one who's the last to leave. And he's probably, I say he, but we're talking she here too, right? They're probably the last to leave. And then they're probably the one who is, working in the hours of the night when other people are relaxing. They're putting in the work. And so that's what I want us to think when we think of CEO mindset. Be the coach you'd love to sponsor. Like if you had an ideal coach, what does that look like? Somebody who turns it on every single day, who doesn't care about how they feel, or if they don't feel like it, they do it anyway, right? They're tracking what they're doing. We talked about the power hour earlier this week. They're doing their power hour every single day. Maybe if they have more time, they're doing a power 2 hour, but they are making it happen. They're not letting excuses hold them back, and they're moving forward. So again, think about that. You set the pace as the CEO, be that coach, and you'll start attracting coaches who are just like you. And I'm telling you, when that happens, when you finally get somebody on your team that just gets it, it's incredible. But you have got to be that person if you want to attract that person. Next step is to be resilient. Like I said, this business has a lot of ups and downs. There's going to be setbacks. There are going to be times that you want to quit. I'm telling you right now, I think that's just a normal thought. If it doesn't cross your mind, it will at some point, and know, this is what they're talking about. But be resilient, push harder. You're made for more. If you feel in your gut that you were made for more, if you're in this group, you obviously do. Be resilient and push through. Yes, hard times are hard, but we are stronger. And develop that no matter what attitude. Sure, I had a setback. Maybe I had a missed goal. Maybe I'm not where I thought I would be at this point, but I'm going to make this happen no matter what. Again, when I first started this business, I told myself, I'm just going to go all in and see what happens, no matter what, for a year. Now I tell my coaches, go all in for 4 years. Just do it. No matter what happens, I'm going to give it my all and see where I go. The next thing I want to talk about is believe in your ability to figure it out. When we first started this business, I had no idea what Team Bonus Cycle was. I didn't even know all the ranks. I didn't know anything, honestly. But I knew that I'm a smart enough person that as I got there, I would figure it out. And sure enough, that's what happens. Again, the beautiful thing is you're not alone. I know that if you're in this group, you have an awesome upline, or even like a grand upline that would be more than willing to help you figure out what you don't know. But believe in your ability. I may not know it all, but I know I have the ability to figure it out as I need to go. So just know that. Have that faith in yourself that you're not going to know it all. And the beautiful thing is you don't have to know it. In this business, we get to earn as we learn, which I think is a fabulous, fabulous thing. And we figure out as we go. The next 2 tips, act as if. So if you want to be a 15 superstar diamond coach, act as if you were one. That's something that I used to say and I used to do. Like I acted as if I had it figured out. Did I? No. But I used to, when I'm messaging people, what would a top coach say right now? Because I think sometimes in the beginning, we don't really have that belief in ourselves. And that can come across when we're messaging people, when we're talking to people, where we seem a little timid. But if you have the confidence to act as if, I'm an elite coach, I'm a 15 superstar diamond coach, why wouldn't people want to work with me? I know my challenge groups rock. I know the products that I offer are top of the line. Own it. And if you don't have it yet, put on that persona. I always think of like Beyonce, how she has her like Sasha Fierce mentality. Become Sasha Fierce in Beachbody. You may be a timid introvert and you get shy talking to people, but when you sit down to do your Beachbody work, act as if you are Sasha Fierce in the Beachbody world and make it happen. And I'm telling you, when you act as if, you start to embody it, and then you start to fully believe and embrace, I am a top coach. People want to work with me. And that's when the magic really starts to happen. And then finally, stop quitting. So I think I listened to a call a while back and it talked about, have you quit your Beachbody business? And I was like, no, I've never quit. And he went on to say, I'm sure, I would say probably 100% of us in this business have quit at some point. And I was like, well, actually I haven't. So I was feeling pretty good about myself. But he's like, do you take the weekends off? Have you taken off an entire day, entire Saturday or Sunday? If you have, you quit. And I'm like, oh gosh, and I'm not to say you have to work 24/7, 365. Absolutely. We want freedom. We want freedom of time. We want to be able to spend time with our families. But knowing that this business is built on momentum. I see so many times people start hard and they go and they get after it. And then life gets busy. They get sick. A family member gets sick. They go on vacation and then they back off and they lose all their momentum. And while they're not technically quitting, they have quit. And it takes a long time to get going. It takes a long time to get that momentum going. If you've read The Compound Effect, it's one of the first books I read as a coach, and I think it's great. If you haven't read it, I encourage you. He uses the analogy of pumping a well, where you're pumping and pumping like a hand-pumped well. And you're pumping and you're pumping and you're pumping and you're working hard, you're working hard, you're working hard, and maybe you get like a dropout and you're like, forget it. This is too hard. I quit. But if you were to keep going, the water will start to flow. And the best thing about that is once the water flows, you're not having to pump as hard to get it to flow and to continue to flowing. And that's really how this business is. It takes momentum, but you can't quit before you allow success to catch up with you. You've got to keep going. So don't take a few days off of social media. I see a lot of times people that too. They get busy and like, oh, I forgot to post. You can't do that in this business. You can't quit on this business. You have to keep going, even when it's hard and even when it would be easier to quit. Don't allow yourself. We put in too much work to quit. So I just encourage you, just keep going. And again, when you think of quitting, it's not like, hey, I'm canceling my coach account. It's you've taken a few days off, right? You've taken a week off, or you're not posting on social media. You got to keep going. Okay, so finally, the last thing is go all in. I think the worst thing we can do in this business is to just dabble. And I see it a lot like, well, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it a few months and just see how it goes. And so you just give a little bit of effort. Maybe you send a few invites, maybe every other day. Maybe you post on social media, once a week, sharing your journey or inviting. And you don't go all in. And then you never build that momentum. You never build that steam. And then you get to that 3-month mark. You haven't really been successful and you're like, you know what, it didn't work for me. Forget it. I think I'm going to quit. And so that always hurts my heart so much because I want to tell people, if you're going to do this, do it. Like go all in, make it happen, put your excuses to the side and go all in. And I'm not saying go all in for 3 months. I'm saying minimum a year. But like I talked about earlier, think of it as your Beachbody University. If you're willing to go 4 years, get in debt and get a degree, you can go 4 years, not get in debt, create a healthy, wonderful life and inspire people to join you, and you will blow your mind. So go all in. Okay. Last thing I promise, because I know I promised to make this short, is just to do the work. Let success catch up with you. Don't quit before the miracle happens. I always tell my coaches that. Don't quit before the miracle happens. You just got to keep going. I don't know who said this quote, but it has always stuck with me, that it's crazy that some people feel that 2 to 5 years in business is a long time to become successful, but don't feel that 40 years in a job is a long time to stay broke. And I think it's so true. We expect this business to immediately pay us a 6-figure income. We immediately expect, to be growing and building our income. And if it doesn't happen fast enough, people quit. But honestly, would you go all in 2 to 5 years to build a life that most people would dream about? Right? Or you could take the safe route. And there's nothing wrong with that. My parents have taken the safe route, because that's what they knew and that's what's normal, right? Work 40 years, retire, hope you have enough in retirement. And then when you retire, then you can live your life, be making just enough. Absolutely, you can do that. But I know that if you're in this group and that you really want to adopt that CEO mindset, you'll be willing to go all in for 2 to 5 years so that you can live a life that most would just dream about. Okay. That is all I have for you. If you have questions, please let me know. I'm actually going to be jumping in live on Sunday evening. I'll post on Sunday when I plan to go live, but usually we go live in the evenings, but it's Friday evening, and I know that a lot of us want to be with our families on Friday evening. So I'll be posting when I'll be going live on Sunday evening. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. So thank y'all for joining in, and I hope you have a fabulous day. Bye, y'all.